to play. Okay? Sasa ile saa ile ambayo mpira itaanza, ati SK mpatie makao na mpira apatie ratio na mpira anapatia Esther anapatia Gladys anapatia Martha na mpira anaenda na mpira.
Good afternoon viewers. I hope you are fine wherever you are. Welcome to Talk to Africa. My name is George. A few days ago, Martha Karua joined the Azimio bandwagon. And on the other hand, Kalonzo Musyoka reassured Raila Odinga that he is in Azimio to stay. Let me remind you of what took place in Martha Karua.
I'm here to confirm that from now onwards, NARC Kenya and I are supporting the Azimio presidential candidate, the Right Honorable Raila Odinga.
Sisi wenyewe tuliamini tulishinda. Tena hatukuona ushindi. Tukaenda mahakama, ndio hayo maneno hayo, mahakama ikatoa uamuzi wake, tukasema tukubaliani nao, lakini ni lazima sisi tuwe waadilifu kwa sheria za nchi. Tukakubali shingo upande. 2017 pale tena Jubilee wakaja na fujo. Nchi ilikuwa imekuwa nyekundu. Tukapambana, tukawashinda, tena hatukuwashinda. Sina ukweli wa mambo.
As you can see, Kalonzo Musyoka is very particular and has actually even narrated a story of the events that took place in the past between him and Raila Odinga. And the entry of Martha Karua into Azimio actually throws a spanner into the works of the running mate in Azimio. This issue of the running mate is not an issue that people are discussing lightly or taking lightly in both camps, Azimio camp and in the Kenya Kwanza camp. Nobody wants to make a fast move. Raila Odinga does not want to make a fast move and is keeping people on tenterhooks. On the other hand, William Samoei Ruto too is very smart and he knows very well that issue can make or break his support in Mount Kenya. So what are the considerations? What are these people thinking about in terms of the running mate? In a classroom, you'll be talking about the DNA, you'll be talking about the qualifications, you'll be talking about, their corruption records, and of course you'll be talking about the support or the support base. This is not basically a classroom. This is a very complicated chess game. And the players are none other. On one side, Uhuru Kenyatta with his left hand, Raila Odinga on the same side. On the opposite side is William Samoei Ruto and a number of Mount Kenya strategists. William Samoei Ruto does not want to make the first move because he knows very well if he does a wrong move, it's going to cost him Mount Kenya. Raila Odinga himself is very smart. If you looked at the time when he was in the functions of Martha Karua, he played that football game. As I've said in the past, the issue of the running mate for Azimio will be determined by a gentleman called Uhuru Kenyatta. And I'll tell you why. For all intent and purposes, Azimio is basically a shareholder kind of situation between Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga. These guys have come a long way. From the handshake, they went into the BBI. And in the BBI, there was that issue that William Samoei Ruto was raising about positions. It is a fact that the BBI provided extra positions in the constitution so that the Azimio government too would actually have a representation of all those stakeholders who basically have jumped into Azimio. I have in mind Keraito Murungi, Adan Keinan, Martha Karua, who basically, and even Peter Kenneth, who basically are on the side of Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta in that team. I've said before that Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta is not just a stakeholder in Azimio just because he represents Mount Kenya. Uhuru Kenyatta has a big Kenyan constituency. Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta is the person who will make a decision in terms of a running mate for Raila Amolo Odinga, and that is my thinking. In terms of where the running mate for Raila Amolo Odinga will come from, if elections were held today, the running mate for Raila Amolo Odinga will come from the Mount Kenya region. Now, in the Mount Kenya region, we have a few contenders who have actually surfaced. These guys are playing chess, like I've said. And chess game, they don't share their moves just now yet. There's about 135 days to elections. There's still a lot of time, and they will only reveal their running mates when basically the law requires them to do so. You can look at the candidates who basically have sprung up from Mount Kenya. That is Kiraito Murungi is there. Of course, there is Peter Munya. Don't forget about that. There is now Martha Karua, and there is Peter Kenneth. In fact, I would even say the governor for Nakuru is a likely contender. But let us stick with these few other candidates from Mount Kenya. Martha Karua comes in with a lot of experience, and her stand in corruption is known. She's also a lady, and she's very qualified. Coming at a time when the judiciary is really down there, is quite low. The legal fraternity and corruption in this country, and a lot of things are happening that a lot of Kenyans are not very happy about. So you would have imagined if it's a question of just qualifications, Martha Karua would have been like the candidates to take that position. But it's not that easy. There are so many other factors to be looked at. From the experience that we've had from the Jubilee government, obviously you not have to want to have a situation where if Raila Amolo Odinga becomes the president next year, they will have an immediate disagreement with his deputy, who could be either one of those candidates that we've talked about, including Kalonzo Musyoka. So that is also a factor that these people will now be basically looking at when they are making that decision of a running mate. Of course, they have their eyes set on William Samoei Ruto. Nobody wants to make their first move. But it's by and large, William Samoei Ruto doesn't have also a big alternative. I would say that in William Samoei Ruto's camp, the chances are he will get somebody from Mount Kenya. But if William Samoei Ruto makes the mistake of taking Musalia Mudavadi as his running mate, then he knows very well that he is finished, because the issue of Mount Kenya and that hype will disappear. That is why he is more inclined towards actually Rigathi Gachagua or someone else from the Mount Kenya region. Back to Raila Amolo Odinga and his running mate. Raila Amolo Odinga is not going to take Kalonzo Musyoka. Kalonzo Musyoka would have taken a better chance, would have had a better chance if he had come earlier with NASA. So when Raila Amolo Odinga was actually having a handshake with Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta with Kalonzo Musyoka as his running mate, it would have been easier for them to persuade Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta that Raila Amolo Odinga needs to run with his usual partner. But Kalonzo Musyoka took his time, and until last week, as you've seen in the clip, and basically he came late. A journey came lately. So that has costed him that position of the running mate to some extent, let alone the fact that the battleground today as we speak is in Mount Kenya. Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta is not going to disappear, as a lot of people think, that Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta pack his bags and go home. I can assure you here now, Uhuru Kenyatta will play part in the next government. Raila Amolo Odinga alluded to it, but lightly, I think when he was in London. But I know for a fact that the appointments in Azimio will be done by Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta and Raila Amolo Odinga. So the rest of the people will fall in their basic camps, the Jubilee camp and the ODM camp. And in the ODM camp, or the Raila Amolo Odinga's camp, you will have his normal people, including Kalonzo Musyoka, who, by the way, right now is hanging in between there. He's neither been brought by Raila Amolo Odinga, neither has he been brought by Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. So you see, he is hanging in there. And that is why Kalonzo Musyoka was talking about the three-legged stool, which meant that he wanted to be a principal on the table. So that Azimio, the stakeholders in Azimio would remain Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, Raila Amolo Odinga, and Kalonzo Musyoka. But as you know, that move didn't work out. Last weekend you saw Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta went to Kalonzo's place in Karen and they had a discussion. Consequently, Kalonzo Musyoka apparently made up his mind, is now fully in Azimio. So, but the question still remains, so who is going to be the running mate of Raila Amolo Odinga? At the moment, the most favored person to be a running mate, if elections are held today, would be none other than Peter Kenneth Muthongo. What do you think? Who will be the running mate of Raila Amolo Odinga? How about William Samoei Ruto? Who should make the first move? Should Raila Amolo Odinga make the first move? Or should William Samoei Ruto make his move and proceed? I told you, this is a chess game. And until the other person blunders, the other one will not make a move. Thank you very much for tuning in. Welcome to Talk to Africa. My name is George.